believes Zimbabweans are capable of spearheading game-changing, first-of-a-kind innovations that challenge the world's traditional ways of doing things. President Mnangagwa said no one can take away that capability.
Africa's automotive scene has been undergoing a remarkable transformation, fueled by fresh ideas, impactful technologies, and determined entrepreneurs. Every day, production lines across the continent roll out around 30,000 newly made cars, some of which harness cutting-edge clean energy solutions that challenge traditional boundaries. Among these inspiring innovations is the self-powering vehicle conceptualized by Maxwell Chikumbutso in Zimbabwe.
The vehicle, it uses what we call the microsonic energy device. The microsonic energy device, it is the device that I personally invented in 2009, which harness radio frequencies, converted it into energy.
The goal is clear: provide reliable mobility while reducing costs and fostering homegrown profit. The spark of innovation. In recent years, Africa's automotive industry has captured global attention for its creativity and long-term potential. From newly established plants to inventive pioneers, the continent is showcasing a capacity to produce 30,000 cars a day that meet both local demands and some international export needs. At the heart of this growth lies the craving for mobility solutions that suit Africa's roads, budgets, and environmental goals. Over the past decade, governments and private entities have also channeled more funding into homegrown production, which fostered an environment where brilliant ideas could flourish.
South Africa has announced that it has been ruled out of the bidding for the production of a new model that would have created hundreds of new jobs because of the ongoing strike in the automotive sector.
A prime example of this spark can be found in Zimbabwe, where inventor Maxwell Chikumbutso has unveiled a vehicle that potentially runs on radio waves, thereby removing the need for gas or charging stations.
This is one of Chikumbutso's groundbreaking innovations. He calls it a self-powering electric vehicle, powered entirely by radio waves. This is the first of its kind in the world.
Though many still question how far-reaching this particular concept can become, it highlights a broader drive toward energy independence and self-sufficiency across the continent. In many ways, such ambitious ventures are precisely what ignite people's enthusiasm and cast a spotlight on the unique nature of African innovation. Historically, Africa was seen largely as a market for imported used cars, but that image is undergoing a notable rebrand. Locally made cars, in countries like South Africa, Morocco, Nigeria, and Ghana, have proven that African firms can produce attractive models that satisfy everyday users. Large-scale automotive production has taken root in a range of assembly plants. Some are run by well-known global brands, others are wholly African-based operations. In either case, each factory contributes to the daily tally of 30,000 vehicles hitting the roads. A powerful push behind such progress stems from Africa's young and growing population. Young innovators and technicians are far more open to new approaches than previous generations. They see cars not just as means of transport, but also as symbols of regional development, platforms for personal expression, and stepping stones for future technological leaps. African-made cars speak to a sense of local pride, representing the fact that made in Africa can stand for real quality and forward-thinking design. Investment in R&D centers across the continent has helped set the stage for breakthroughs. For instance, local engineers, whether in Zimbabwe, Kenya, or South Africa, work alongside global experts to refine processes, test new materials, and ensure vehicles meet safety guidelines. This synergy lays the groundwork for achieving a rate of 30,000 cars a day without compromising on reliability. Models emerging from Africa cater to the continent's unique challenges: rougher roads, unpredictable fuel availability when needed, and varying climates. These are often regarded as the tougher tests that shape robust and flexible vehicle designs. Key hubs of production. Producing 30,000 cars a day doesn't hinge on one country alone. Rather, it's the result of many African nations ramping up their engineering and manufacturing. South Africa, for example, has maintained a robust automotive sector for decades, boasting assembly plants for major brands and employing thousands of people. Morocco, too, has grown into a serious automotive export hub, thanks to strategic ties with European manufacturers.
It's about Morocco's booming auto industry. The country's automotive sector has grown from virtually non-existent to Africa's largest in less than 2 decades.
Meanwhile, places like Nigeria and Ghana are focusing on local brands and assembling buses, trucks, and passenger cars. Each of these countries approaches car production with different strengths. South Africa benefits from established infrastructure, a mature supplier base, and a large pool of skilled technicians. Morocco, due in part to its geographical proximity to Europe, has attracted considerable foreign direct investment (FDI). That has led to world-class assembly lines capable of delivering not only domestic supply, but also exporting to various global markets. Meanwhile, Nigeria invests in large-scale bus and truck manufacturing to serve both local and West African trade routes. In Zimbabwe, the story is more youthful, but it's not isolated. Maxwell Chikumbutso's self-powered car epitomizes the flair for forward-looking designs. Though the idea of obtaining enough energy from radio waves to power a vehicle still raises eyebrows, it has spurred conversations about the bigger possibility of advanced labs and R&D centers in Zimbabwe. The presence of such labs could lead to improved battery technologies, more efficient internal combustion engines, or even new ways of capturing solar or kinetic energy for vehicles. Already, the government's fresh push to support local inventors tries to create a nurturing ecosystem that might lower costs for both producers and end users. These diverse production hubs feed into the 30,000 cars made daily across the continent. Production numbers may be smaller in certain nations compared to established global manufacturers, yet the consistent progress is undeniable. On top of that, many African brands now realize that they can't just replicate foreign models and hope for success. They must tailor their vehicles to local terrain, cultural preferences, and cost parameters. For example, the hot climate in large swaths of the continent means that robust cooling systems, dust-resistant parts, and easy maintenance design are crucial. Another factor boosting production is Africa's strong appetite for community-based mobility. Large families, extensive rural areas, and entrepreneurial ventures all require reliable vans, minibuses, and trucks. This urges factories to churn out sturdy, multi-purpose vehicles day after day. By addressing these real-world requirements, local producers can consistently sell at volume, keep their factories busy, and refine processes to reduce overhead. Collaboration driving growth. One of the biggest lessons from Africa's automotive journey is that collaboration remains essential. Producing cars on a large scale requires more than just a single company's efforts. It demands a network of partnerships uniting creative minds across different fields. For instance, a car might need specialized steel from local mills, plastic moldings from local injection facilities, interior fabrics woven in separate plants, and advanced electronics or onboard systems integrated by yet another facility. Coordinating these moving parts is not a small job. It calls for streamlined communication, trust, and a shared sense of purpose. Major African automobile producers, both homegrown and multinational, understand that they can't flourish in isolation. They must rely on local supply chains so that every step of the production cycle is efficient and cost-effective. Consequently, they collaborate with smaller businesses, often run by young entrepreneurs or families, ensuring that the expertise and profits spread through the community. This not only helps with skill distribution and job creation, but also tightens the region's economic tapestry. In turn, a healthy spread of suppliers encourages even more production, fueling the aim of reaching or surpassing 30,000 cars a day across the continent. Additionally, collaboration extends beyond traditional manufacturing. Research institutions, university labs, and philanthropic foundations all play a part. Maxwell Chikumbutso's team, for example, might work with electronics experts from a different African country to refine the circuits that convert ambient radio waves into usable power. Or maybe a group of mechanical engineering students from Kenya partner with a design firm in Ghana to research new chassis materials that can better handle unpaved roads. When such cross-border or cross-discipline collaborations happen, it leads to faster breakthroughs and speeds up the path from invention to mass production. Part of this synergy involves sharing knowledge about best practices. Take vehicle standardization, for instance. With so many new African automotive brands emerging, there is a risk that varying specs and complicated regulations could hamper growth. By working together, and sometimes with government bodies, automakers can create guidelines that ensure safety, consistency, and simpler cross-border trade. An example might be that all producers follow a standardized crash test procedure or adopt common specifications for seatbelts, windshields, or lighting. This uniformity helps reduce confusion in the supply chain and makes it easier for factories to ramp up output, free of the friction that arises from too many product variations. Embracing environmentally friendly solutions. While the traditional auto industry can bring many benefits, it also raises concerns about pollution, emissions, and resource depletion. Africa finds itself at a pivotal moment, expanding manufacturing capacities while also grappling with climate change concerns. This balance has led to a dynamic shift in thinking about new, cleaner ways to power vehicles. And that's precisely where inventions like Maxwell Chikumbutso's self-powered car fit into the broader narrative, exploring truly groundbreaking technologies that might allow Africa to leapfrog conventional, polluting models. In the mainstream, Africa is also seeing growth in electric vehicles. Some factories are pivoting to produce battery-powered cars or buses, mindful that global markets and environmentally aware African consumers are turning increasingly towards sustainable transport. By adopting or even refining existing technology, local producers can reduce their carbon footprint. Many nations are rolling out new charging networks in major cities, often powered by renewable energy like solar or hydropower. This synergy between green energy sources and electric mobility signals a new era where African cities and towns could skip the heavy reliance on oil-based solutions. Yet the self-powering design from Zimbabwe stands out as a visionary approach. Instead of needing a large battery or a standard power source, the idea is to harness ambient radio waves, convert them into direct current, and fuel the vehicle continuously. If proven at mass scale, such a model could solve the classic problem of range anxiety that has plagued electric vehicles. People wouldn't have to queue at charging stations, nor would they have to pay for expensive fuel. They could simply drive, fueled by the electromagnetic waves already surrounding us. Even if critics remain skeptical about how much energy radio waves alone can feasibly produce, it's the willingness to try something bold that sets Africa apart at this moment. Another key environmental advantage is that many new African-made cars come with multi-fuel or hybrid engines. Some are designed to run on locally available biofuels, reducing dependence on imported oil. Others incorporate advanced filters that cut down on harmful emissions, aligning with international standards. And with the arrival of micro and small solar panels that can supplement a vehicle's energy needs, powering lights, air conditioning, or entertainment systems, cars become more efficient, especially in countries blessed with abundant sunlight. Parallel to these greener strategies is the evolving sense of corporate responsibility. African automakers, particularly those run by younger teams, often treat sustainability as a core principle rather than an afterthought. Factories aim to cut waste by recycling materials or reusing leftover metals and plastics. Some go so far as to redesign supply chains to shrink shipping distances and slash the carbon footprint. The shift isn't just ethical, it's also pragmatic. More environment-friendly methods can lower production costs over time, maximize the utility of natural resources, and appeal to an expanding, environmentally conscious market. Economic and social ripple effects. The automotive upswing, featuring 30,000 daily cars manufactured across Africa, does far more than just supply vehicles to end users. It spawns massive economic and social gains that ripple through African societies in profound ways. Foremost among these is job creation. Car factories need operators, engineers, assembly line technicians, administrative staff, shipping coordinators, accountants, and a host of other roles. Each position is a livelihood for a person, and often a family, who then invests earnings back into local businesses, from grocery stores to clothing shops. Thus, a single automotive plant can kickstart an entire local economy, especially in places that once struggled with limited opportunity. Beyond direct employment, auto-producing nations often see a surge in related small businesses. These can be parts suppliers, like metal fabricators, tire manufacturers, and electronics assembly shops, or service providers including design studios, marketing agencies, and truck transport operators. As production lines across the continent grow, more small businesses get the chance to feed critical components into the supply chain. This fosters an environment of entrepreneurial hustle where service providers specialize in painting, upholstery, or custom additions. Over time, those specialized crafts can reach international standards, and businesses can begin exporting their offerings beyond Africa's borders. On the social front, families with stable, better-paying manufacturing jobs can afford healthcare, schooling, and improved housing. This, in turn, raises a community's overall well-being. A father or mother who works in a car factory is far more likely to send their children for higher education, fueling the next generation with stronger skills and ambition. Over time, entire towns around automotive hubs transform into bustling centers of commerce, complete with restaurants, shops, cultural spaces, and broader municipal improvements, new roads, better lighting, and more reliable water systems. By placing production facilities in different regions, African governments and investors also help address the historic concentration of industry in a few big cities. With automotive plants popping up in more remote or often overlooked provinces, rural communities get to share in the benefits. This can slow or even reverse the flow of people migrating to crowded urban areas in search of work. Those who choose to stay in or near their hometowns can carve out a decent living in the automotive sector, all while helping to preserve rural culture and family networks. Furthermore, Africa's large population includes a deep pool of skilled, motivated youth. By securing hands-on experience in assembly lines or automotive design labs, these individuals can eventually become innovators in their own right. Some might specialize in advanced manufacturing techniques, while others take an interest in vehicle electrification or battery research, potentially leading to startups and new breakthroughs. This cyclical pattern fosters a robust, well-decentralized ecosystem of automotive production and design. In short, the benefits accumulate over time, pushing African societies into higher living standards and greater self-reliance, overcoming challenges and looking ahead. While Africa's capacity to produce 30,000 cars a day is indisputably impressive, it isn't a seamless journey free from hurdles. Supply chain disruptions, inconsistent power supplies, and dependence on expensive imports for certain specialized components are all common obstacles. Some automotive plants in Africa might sometimes need to import high-tech chips or advanced tooling machines from overseas, leading to long shipping times and inflated costs. Likewise, insufficient infrastructure in certain regions, think older ports, roads with large potholes, or unstable internet connectivity, means that shipping in raw materials or exporting finished vehicles can remain a daunting task. Another challenge is bridging the gap between optimistic policy goals and the realities of daily practice. Governments might promise to help local automotive industries, but the actual regulatory environment can become complicated. Slow bureaucracy, high customs duties for specific parts, or complex licensing procedures might delay expansions. At the same time, ensuring that new factories meet universal safety standards can be complicated in countries that lacked a deep automotive tradition. Skepticism from the scientific community also appears whenever radical tech solutions, like a self-powering car, enter the market. Many experts demand definitive data or peer-reviewed research to confirm the viability of capturing enough radio waves to power a full-sized vehicle. Credibility is critical. If new African technologies are doubted and overshadowed by the status quo, that can reduce investor confidence or hamper large-scale rollout. Inventors such as Maxwell Chikumbutso will likely need to partner with independent labs and testing agencies to verify performance claims. China's new $12,000 flying car. These days, when you see something flying in the sky, you'd quickly think it's a bird, an airplane, or a rocket. But if you look closely, it just might be China's new flying car. Xpeng Motors recently showcased its X2 flying car at the 2024 China Langfang International Economic and Trade Fair. The demonstration took place in the Beijing International Airport Economic Zone. While this wasn't its first public test flight, it was the first time a flying car took to the skies in the Beijing-Tianjin-Hebei region, with emphasis on the area's aim to develop a low-altitude economy. The Xpeng X2, originally called Voyager 2, is more like a drone than a traditional car. It has a two-seater design made mostly from carbon materials. The X2 is 5,172 millimeters long, 5,124 millimeters wide, and 1,362 millimeters high. It weighs 680 kilograms and can carry a maximum of 160 kilograms.
See our flying car, and will be the very important base for the next generation flying car.
How does this new car differ from the ordinary car? How was this car created? What you're about to hear will blow your mind. Unlike most drones that have 4 motors, the X2 is an octocopter, meaning it has 8 motors for extra power and safety. If one motor fails, a built-in parachute provides additional security. The X2 can fly for 25 minutes and has completed almost 4,000 test flights in various settings, such as cities, seas, and deserts. AeroHT plans to release a version with a longer range, likely with a bigger battery within a few years, but Xpeng launched this year a combination of a drone car and a transport vehicle. Images of the land carrier were leaked last year. The Xpeng X2 is now a working vehicle that blends the convenience of driving with the freedom of flying. Imagine stepping into your car, driving to a suitable spot, and then taking off into the sky with just the press of a button. The Xpeng X2 turns this dream into reality. This breakthrough is remarkable. For decades, flying cars were seen as pure science fiction, something that might never happen. But now, with the X2, the future is here.
So some people would think this could be still things for the future, but from our perspective, it will not be that far away from now.
While Xpeng leads the charge in China, the United States has also made strides in the flying car race. Aleph Aeronautics, a startup in California, recently received government approval for its flying car, the Model A. The Model A is a fully electric vehicle capable of both driving on city streets and flying. With a flying range of 177 kilometers and a driving range of 320 kilometers, the Model A is a game changer, and its development began with an idea sketched on a napkin back in 2015. For China, Xpeng's bold approach to innovation is perfectly shown in the X2's cutting-edge design. The company's vision of the future has come to life in a vehicle that challenges traditional definitions. With its smooth curves and futuristic look, the X2 is an engineering and design masterpiece that inspires excitement and adventure. It looks like something straight out of a science fiction story.
Technology and design, they need to be also one firm unit. And for this, we are also very, as designers and as BYD generally, also our customers very happy.
At first glance, the Xpeng X2 seems like a sleek, compact car, similar to the electric vehicles Xpeng Motors is famous for, but on closer inspection, it's clear this is no ordinary car. Its body is made from advanced composite materials chosen for their strength, lightweight, and durability for both road and air travel. The real magic of the Xpeng X2 is how it can completely change. With just one button, this normal-looking car turns into a flying machine. The wheels fold into the body, and strong rotors pop out, ready to lift the X2 into the air. This transformation is possible because of its smart design, which uses vertical takeoff and landing technology. The design and advantages of the Xpeng X2. Unlike regular planes that need a runway, the X2 can go straight up from almost any flat surface. Once in the air, the X2 flies smoothly and gracefully. Its advanced systems, powered by artificial intelligence and sensors, make sure the ride is steady and safe. The X2 can handle different types of weather, like light rain or mild winds, but it won't fly in bad weather to keep everyone safe. Thanks to its VTOL system, it takes off and lands smoothly every time. Its electric engine gives it plenty of power to move forward or go up and down, making it perfect for flying above crowded cities. Even though it's small, the X2 can carry 2 people and their luggage comfortably. The inside is designed to be super comfy, with soft seats you can adjust, simple controls, and a big windshield that lets you enjoy amazing views. Every part of the X2 is carefully designed to work perfectly. It's just over 16.4 feet long and 4.2 feet tall, small enough to move through cities but big enough to give you a comfortable ride. The X2 is very light, weighing less than 1,500 pounds, which helps it fly easily. By keeping it light but strong, the Xpeng X2 combines smart design and great performance. The Xpeng X2 is a flying car designed to be both lightweight and durable, ensuring it can soar through the sky while staying strong enough to handle the challenges of flying. Thanks to the vertical takeoff and landing technology, this vehicle can take off and land vertically, meaning it doesn't need a runway. This makes it possible to lift off from busy streets, rooftops, or even your driveway. The X2 has multiple rotors that can tilt in different directions, allowing it to take off with the rotors pointing upwards, and then glide like a plane once the rotors tilt forward during flight. VAL technology is what makes the Xpeng X2 stand out. While helicopters can take off vertically, they're not ideal for long or fast flights. Planes are better for speed and distance but require long runways. The X2 combines the best of both, helicopter-like convenience and a plane's speed, while being small enough to fit in your garage. This technology also offers solutions to traffic problems. What other advantages does this flying car offer? Stay tuned, the most interesting part is still ahead. As cities get busier, instead of expanding roads, we could build skyports, small landing pads on rooftops or in parking garages. With a network of these skyports, flying cars like the Xpeng X2 could avoid traffic, reducing congestion and saving time. This would also mean fewer cars on the road, lower emissions, and cleaner, more efficient cities. The Xpeng X2's advanced control systems take flying to the next level. Unlike traditional aircraft with complicated dashboards, the X2 has an easy-to-use interface, similar to a smartphone app. This makes piloting simple and user-friendly. The X2 also has autonomous flying capabilities, using high-tech sensors like cameras, radar, and LiDAR to detect obstacles and map the surroundings. These sensors provide detailed information to the onboard computer, which uses artificial intelligence and smart algorithms to make quick decisions on speed, altitude, and route, ensuring a safe and smooth flight. The system can even avoid potential hazards and automatically land the vehicle if something goes wrong. Apart from being safe and easy to fly, the X2 is environmentally friendly. Unlike the noisy, polluting flying machines of the past, the Xpeng X2 uses a modern electric propulsion system that is cleaner, quieter, and more efficient. This electric system helps make flying cars more sustainable by reducing pollution and energy consumption. The Xpeng X2 sets a new standard for green transportation, leading the way for a future where flying cars are not just a dream, but a reality. The Xpeng X2's success is possible today because the manufacturer, Xpeng Motors, took the initiative to develop and bring this flying car to life. The manufacturer of the new flying car, Xpeng Motors. At the top of Xpeng Motors are two amazing leaders, He Xiaopeng and Shan He. Xiaopeng, a former executive at Alibaba, brings a lot of experience in the tech world, while Shan He has a deep knowledge of vehicle design and manufacturing from his years in the automotive industry. Together, they've built a strong team that shares their vision of changing the future of transportation. Since the beginning, Xpeng Motors has aimed to completely revolutionize the electric vehicle industry. They saw that the automotive industry was ready for a big change, with electric cars becoming more popular. While Xpeng originally focused on creating innovative electric vehicles, their vision has since grown to include even bigger goals. When was this company founded? What cars have they manufactured before now? Stay tuned, it's about to get even more interesting. The company has invested a lot of money and effort into research and development to not only improve their electric vehicles, but also to develop the technologies needed for personal air travel. This focus on innovation is seen in everything Xpeng does, from their modern factories to their advanced software systems. They are always looking for ways to make their cars better, more efficient, and easier to use. Their cars, like the Xpeng P7 and G3, have earned praise for their sleek designs, long range, and high-tech features. With their global mindset, Xpeng has been expanding into major markets like Europe and the United States. This mix of visionary leadership, tech expertise, and worldwide ambition has helped Xpeng become a leader in the electric vehicle movement. Now, with the Xpeng X2 flying car, they're proving once again that they are dedicated to pushing the boundaries of what's possible. Xpeng Aerot was founded in 2013 but is now the largest flying car company in Asia, is an integral part of the Xpeng Motors ecosystem. With a vision to become the global leader in low-altitude product innovations and a mission of freedom to fly, AeroHT focuses on developing safe, intelligent, and innovative low-altitude mobility products, like flying cars. They aim to meet various user needs, whether for personal flight, aerial commuting, or public services. Their approach centers on delivering user-friendly products that are not only safe, but also high-performing, convenient, and aesthetically appealing. AeroHT's technological innovations are driven by in-house development of core technologies, prioritizing practical applications over flashy gimmicks, ultimately working to transform low-altitude mobility and bring the freedom of flight to everyone. In May of last year, the Beijing city government introduced a plan called Beijing Promotes the High-Quality Development of the Low-Altitude Economy Industry, 2024 to 2027. This plan is aimed at making Beijing a center for new ideas in low-altitude transportation. It looks at ways flying cars can be used, like for traveling between cities and for shuttle services within cities.